Friends, you are watching another edition of A Quantum Leap Year, and I am Tim Lee. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful campus of Virginia Union University, where I graduated in 2007 with my Master of Divinity degree, from the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology. Behind me, you see Coburn Hall, which is the chapel on campus, and it is one of the historic buildings. I believe Dr. King spoke here among many other great orators and preachers and philosophers alike. Friends, let me tell you what happened to me today, and then I want to connect that to a lesson, and then I want to, let you go so you can go about your weekend and your week whenever you're watching this. So here it is. Today I was, doing some exercise in the morning, doing like a little walk, jog, run, as I could. And while I'm jogging / running, I see something on the ground that catches my attention. It's a little booklet or some literature, and it has some faces on it. And I see the word love, and for some reason I just stop. You know what I'm saying? Take a little break, wipe my little sweat off, and I picked this thing up off the ground. Picked it off the ground, found out that it's an advertisement for Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. And it talked about all these things that people loved about Virginia, I guess. And some really nice pictures. And, I looked at it and decided that I had seen enough. And I was about to put it down on the ground where I found it, or farther away from where I found it. And I became convicted. I was like, I'm going to be littering. I'm going to be littering in front of someone else's house. So I decided to hold on to it until I could find an appropriate place to discard it. What am I saying? The lesson I learned from all that I want to connect to the lesson that I've been learning over the past few weeks is you've got to be careful what you pick up. You've got to be careful what you pick up. And I hope we can get beyond the physical little booklet that we just picked up, right? And go into other things that we pick up inadvertently or on purpose, whether it was in childhood or adulthood. You see what I'm saying? So we have, things that we pick up from our homes, from our parents, from our siblings, from our friends, from our enemies, from our bullies, from our teachers. You see what I'm saying? And these things that can keep us in some sort of unproductive box, in low self-esteem and low thinking about ourselves. I've read books in the past that talk about how in these things that we pick up, they become like tapes that play over and over again in our mind. And so when we think we're quiet and we're not, we can just listen to that little chatter that is nonstop, and many times it is from those voices that's talking about how you're not good enough, how you're not worthy, and all those things like that we get. So when you hear someone saying something opposite, you are worthy, you deserve it, it's okay, it's perfect. You see what I'm saying? It just does something to you, right? But we've picked those things up. You don't pick things up just because you're a certain age or a child. You can pick things up even as adults, right? There are ways of behaving and being and acting that we sort of see in other people and emulate consciously or unconsciously. You see what I'm saying? Be careful, friends, what you pick up. What am I saying also? I'm saying that energetically, we're always picking up things, which is why people caution be careful who you hang around. Be careful who you select your friends to be. They say friends are the family that you choose, right? So if you can't choose your family, and on certain levels, I can understand why people say you can't. You certainly can choose your friends. And so do you want to be around someone who's going to help you get to where you want to go and speak life into you and support you and all those things like that? Or are you just going to be around people because they're cool, even though they are taking from you and giving you things that you won't even know that you have picked up in a negative light and cannot put down until you see what I'm saying, or become aware of it, or until you become aware of it. So, be careful in those things. I don't like to talk about be careful because that can sometimes impose and inject a spirit of fear. But just be aware that there's always an exchange of energy. We're getting energy. I'm getting energy from the sun right now, right? I'm getting energy from the tree. I'm getting energy from nature. I'm getting energy from people. And because we don't know that sense anymore, we don't really, just like if you don't use your eyes, you may lose it, but right. So you have the sight, you have the smell, all these senses that we have to help us to relate to the physical world. There are other senses, and one of those senses is detecting energy, whether it is being deposited or taken away. And you can tell, even if you are a reader of the Bible, that there was a moment when Jesus was touched in a large crowd, and he turned around and said, "Who touched me?" How can you know that, Father? Who touched you, Master, or whatever they called him? But there's so many people around you. So many people are touching you. But there was something that energy was taken from me. He felt it, right? We've got to awaken some of those senses that we have. Let me make this personal, and then we're going to close it up. I have discovered, friends, in my reflection, deep reflection, that I have several limitations on me that I have picked up over and throughout the years. And these limitations they are meritless. They have no merit at all. They're just agreements that we've made just because we think that's what we as humans can do or cannot do. But what I'm learning is that we have limitlessness in us. We are limitless. Our potential is limitless. What we can do is only blocked by ourselves, right? So our bodies are miraculous machines. I mean, that we fully do not understand, right? Our minds, my God, our souls, our spirit, like what the education that I'm getting as I'm putting myself through this new school called YouTube. um, it is mind freeing, to say the least. And I'm very excited to share more about those in the coming weeks. But I think that I'm going to try to wrap this episode up with just a quick summary. We've got one to be careful what we pick up. We can pick up things in a lot of ways. The institutions to which we belong, the environments where we find ourselves, the people who we surround ourselves, you know, intimate relationships, you know what I'm saying? There is picking up things, even sexually. I want you all to be careful if you are sexually active because um, we have really reduced sex to a recreational like game of sorts where we do not understand other things that are happening. And I'm not just talking about STDs or STIs or even babies and unplanned parenthood. I'm talking about energies, right? So you want to be careful about that. And again, not fearful, but just aware that this is a truth, and then govern yourself accordingly. Foods you eat, environment, air you breathe. I mean, it's all those things. So I'm getting to a space where I'm connecting to and accepting my limitlessness. And it's just a very, 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 very powerful place to be. Friends, I'm going to close there. Again, I hope that I have not, talked too long. I want to thank you for joining me. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, new leapers. Thank you for coming back, old leapers. Um, let's talk about what is good, what is bad. I'm going to start taking questions. So thank you for staying until the end. And to those who did stay, please, I'm going to put my email address up here. Email me questions that you want me to address. I'm going to start answering questions moving forward. Friends, that's it. Thank you so much again for joining me. And I look forward to next week lessons and weeks to come lessons and questions that you may be asking for yourself. Until then, friends, let me sign off by saying you have been watching another edition of a Quantum Leap Year with me, Tim Lee. Thank you again. Enjoy.